Welcome to a new chapter about genetics and development. This lesson is about reproduction, a characteristic of life. So we are going to talk about reproduction throughout this chapter. As usual, we said we always start our lesson with the objectives of this lesson. Let me remind you that reproduction is one of the 7 characteristics of living things. And throughout this lesson, we are going to differentiate between chromosomes, genes, and DNA. All living things reproduce, which means making more of themselves. When they reproduce, they pass their genetic materials from parents to their offspring. Genetic materials means DNA. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. This is the meaning of DNA. And let me remind you that DNA can be found in the nucleus inside our cells. All the living things contain cells, and all cells, they have a genetic material. The genetic material contains numerous molecules which contains a lot of instruction important for making life. Let's see together, let's imagine how small are the cells by using this simulation. And we need a microscope for sure to see those cells. This simulation can show us how small are the cells. This is a coffee bean that we can see by our eyes, or we can start with a grain of rice that we don't need a microscope to see it. Let's see together. Let's start to zoom in more and more. This is a grain of salt. And when we zoom in more, we will start to see a human egg, which is the ovum, and this is the sperm, and this is the red blood cell. We need a microscope to see those specialized cells, which is a sperm and ovum, and here we can see the chromosome, and we are going to talk about the difference between chromosomes and genes later on. Okay, let's continue. Now let's start to talk about the difference, as we said, between DNA, chromosomes, and genes. This is a real picture under microscope for chromosomes, and you have to know that the genetic material start to appear like threads when the cells start to divide. So when you look at the cell under a microscope, you can notice the nucleus. Now we are going to see another simulation to remember that cell contains many organelles, and the nucleus contains the DNA. When the cell is about to divide, the DNA start to form threads, which is called chromosomes. Our human body contains, you have to memorize it, contain 46 chromosomes. All humans around the world, all of us, we contain 46 chromosomes. Other species or other living things, they contain different numbers. For example, garlic, which is a kind of plant and it's a living thing, contains 16. Potato contain 48, and also elephants contain 56 chromosomes. Let me show you this simulation. This is animal cell. We can see plant, fungus, bacteria, all of those cells, they are living things. Let's concentrate on a human cell. Let me remind you with the parts. We have a cell membrane, we have a mitochondria. This is the nucleus. The nucleus is the control center of the cell, and it is the largest organelle. That's why the first thing we see under the microscope is inside the cell, which is a nucleus. It contains DNA. Let's click on the DNA. This is DNA, as I told you. Deoxyribonucleic acid contains genetic informations for cell to grow, to live, to perform functions, and to reproduce. All of the features, all the characteristics, everything is encoded inside the DNA or the genetic material. Okay. So again, let me remind you that human cells contain 46 chromosomes, while garlic contains 16 chromosomes, or 8 pairs, because it's made of 2 strands, 8 pairs of chromosomes. Potato contains 48 chromosomes, or 24 pairs of chromosomes. At last, elephants contain 56 chromosomes, or 28 pairs of chromosomes in general. Okay, now let's see the difference between chromosomes, and DNA and genes. As we said, the chromosomes appear when the cells start to divide, so the genetic material will become like two threads. This is chromosomes. Each one of them, which is made of two strands, is called this shape. We always see this shape. We call it DNA. Small section of the DNA is called gene. Those genes are responsible for one of the characteristics. For example, the color of the eye. There is a gene that can control the color of the eye, or can control the skin tone, or can control our length, or can control, for example, the genetic disorders. So everything is encoded inside the genes. So the meaning of a gene is sections of DNA in the chromosome that carry information, which is called a gene. Asexual reproduction. Adding A means not sexual reproduction. One of the examples that we took in grade 4 is budding in potato. It doesn't require two parents. One potato can form a bud, and this bud, if there is conditions like humidity, like warmth, those buds can grow and give us a new plant. So, asexual reproduction requires one parent, such as bacteria, by splitting into two. This is an example of asexual reproduction. Hydra is an example of plants that can split or divide and cause form a new plant with only one parent. But notice, asexual reproduction can cause identical organisms. They have exactly the same DNA copy-paste. Sexual reproduction, that we are going to talk about it through this chapter. Before we continue, please answer this question. Let's talk now about sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction means that we need two parents for sexual reproduction. So the offspring will take their genetic material from both parents, male or female, or two parents can share their genes to the offspring. But notice that the offspring, they are similar to their parents, but they are different from both of them. For example, if you have a male black cat and female white cat, the kitten could be a mixture of color, black and white. This is because they get their genetic material from both parents. This is the meaning of sexual reproduction. The last thing that you have to know is the meaning of gametes. Gametes is a specialized cell in male and female that contains half of the genetic material. For example, sperm in male, ovum in female, they contain, for example, in humans, 23 chromosomes. So once they fertilize, the sperm fertilize the ovum, it will become fully 46 chromosomes. So let's read here. Sexual reproduction involves specialized reproductive cell called gametes. Each gamete contains half number of the chromosomes as the parents cell. Human body contains 46 chromosomes, so each gamete contains 23 chromosomes. That's all for today. I hope you find it easy and simple. This lesson is about simple keywords that we are going to use throughout this chapter. Thank you so much and have a nice day.